So, hello, what's going on, people? This is Alexinder here for Change the Light Bulbs, and we've got a very, very special guest here for an interview with us today. Based in Australia now, currently here in the UK for lockdown, said to be standing up for hip hop and specifically Gujarati hip hop. Not too long ago, released his EP and doing exceedingly well, which I'm sure we'll talk about. This is RaOol. Hello.
What's up, Alexinder? Thank you very much for having me, man. I appreciate the kind words in the intro.
How you doing?
Good, bro. Good. Really good, man. Good to be here, enjoying London, loving London. It's like a second home for me. Yeah, making the best of a tough situation worldwide, I guess, with the pandemic and stuff. But yeah, going well, man. Trying to stay creative.
Do you wish that you'd stayed in Australia with less restrictions?
No, Australia's actually really strict with restrictions, like really. But before I was in London, I was in Mumbai. So I've been based out of Mumbai for the last couple of years, about 18 months. And yeah, I mean, it's good to be here at the moment. It's good to be back kind of home, so to speak. So I've got like 3 homes: Australia, Mumbai, and London.
You sort of spin between the 3. We'll talk about that in a minute. But first off, the question, I think I know the answer to it, but I need to ask for the viewer's sake, is RaOol really your name? It's a pretty cool name for you.
It's a very cool name. Unfortunately, it's not the one my parents No, RaOol comes from, it's a tribute name for Rahul Dev Burman, who's a phenomenal music director from Bollywood. And apart from just loving his music, the reason being is that Rahul Dev Burman was really, R.D. Burman was really ahead of his time when it came to music, where a lot of his contemporaries were looking at Bollywood music. He was looking outside of India and incorporating like Spanish sounds and loads of other sounds in Bollywood at a time where very few were. So that's my mentality, is to kind of think outside the box and do things a little bit different. It's not to say I'm not comparing myself to R.D. Burman. It's just that the mentality is just that he had. His approach to music was so brilliant that I just, I'm a fan of his, and that's where the name comes from. RaOol comes in his honor, so to speak.
Nice. And I see a logo in the back, and you've got that wolf kind of vibe going on with it. Where's that bit fit in?
All right, so the wolf thing comes from the idea of the way wolves are. So for me to be an independent artist, you got to be hungry like a wolf. You need to be like, when you're not reliant on a major record label and you don't have major record label funding, you have to really go out there, be hungry, be on the attack, be aggressive. If doors aren't opening, knock those doors down, never take a no for an answer, all that kind of stuff. But also, what comes out of that is this concept of wolf pack, and the wolf pack is for me, it's a two-way communication between myself and my fans. Like if you see wolves are hungry, but you don't have to be a lone wolf. They hunt together as a pack, and that's what I have. That's why I have this kind of unique connection with my fans. I don't just say like and comment and subscribe like every other artist tells you to do. I say, yo, here's my WhatsApp number. Hit me up on WhatsApp. Talk to me. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So that's what I do with these fans, and it's kind of a two-way street. I appreciate the fact that they're spending their time to check out my song for 3 minutes or whatever the case may be. So the least I could do is give them some of mine, And so yeah, I put an hour aside a day, and I just speak to whoever messages in, and say what's up and stuff like that. So that's the concept. When you're not signed to a major, or when you refuse to sign to a major, in my case, you have to really. You give your career away. You put your career in the hands of people, and so Wolfpack is just one community, and that's what that's what we do.
That's really cool. I don't think I ever heard any artist kind of give that analogy or speak about their fans like that. So it's kind of cool to hear that from you.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Nice. We're part of the Wolfpack then.
Welcome to the Wolfpack, bro.
Welcome to the Wolfpack. It sounds like the Wolf of Wall Street, but like the Wolf of Australia / Mumbai / London.
Yeah, I used to be an investment banker, so I was there's a little bit of connection with Wolf of Wall Street there. I wasn't anything like that. I
was gonna say.
No, nothing like Mr. Billman. Definitely not. No, in fact, I used to work in compliance actually. So I was trying to stop people like
quite the opposite.
Yeah, doing what he does. Yeah, that was in a different life. Yeah.
Different life. Very, very cool. Okay, now we've got past the name. So congratulations on all of your success recently with your brand new EP and obviously with Gujarati Michelle, which has been popping off everywhere.
Thank you, bro. Thank you very much. Yeah, appreciate it.
But first off, let's go right back to the start. So where did, you said you were an investment banker in compliance, but when did you make that transition to music? Was it something you'd already had, something you'd already done, or was it something you kind of moved into?
So obviously, when I grew up in Oz, I moved out to London because it was always my dream, right? And I used to, I used to be a geek on the Asian industry, on the Asian music industry. So like I used to actually look at untouchablesuk.com, the TV. I don't know if do you know about that? Untouchables UK.
It sounds familiar.
RDB had that thing. Untouchable. It used to be like a UK channel. So I used to sit in Australia. I used to watch that. I had a cassette of VR1. Do you know what VR1 is? Veronica and Rishi as one. So I'm talking like way back.
You're going way before my birth time.
Way before your time, bro. Like I'm showing my age. But basically, when I used to come to the UK, because my family are here, as in my extended family, all my cousins and stuff, they'd show me all of what's going on here. You know what I mean? And I'd be looking at that, and then I'd go back home and I'd tell my cousin out there, it was just me and him growing up in Australia. I used to tell him, oh, bro, this is what's popping. There's Veronica and Rishi Rich doing his thing, and then RDB's popping, and Dr. Zeus is popping, and you know what I'm saying? I used to follow the scene of what was going on here. So when I came here, basically, that's where the music really started for me. It all started in London for me with whatever I've been doing. So this is the birthplace for me. London is.
It kind of at that time as well was, I mean, there's lots of conversation about this now, but at the time that's when the UK Asian scene was really popping off and all the talent was here. So I can imagine.
Yeah, it was popping, man. It was popping big time. And so that's when I brought my demos and stuff from Australia out over here and got feedback for it. And then that's when I got into investment banking, basically. Okay. And I was working here because I had, no immediate family here. It was just me. I had some cousins and stuff, but no immediate family. So to support myself, I got a job. I graduated in Australia in commerce and business law and stuff. And so I came and worked for an investment bank. And then that was just a passion for me, and then I decided to take music full time. And I dropped a couple of records called Meri Rani and Dua. And that's way back in the day. And they managed to get Convict Music's attention out in the States, Acorn's record label. And then, I went out to the States. And then from there, a friend of mine showed one of my records that I had in fact written for Acorn, which I was hoping he would sing. And he liked, and I showed it to him and everything. And he basically showed that same song to Sonu Nigam. And Sonu Nigam called him up and said, what's this? And he said, this is my friend of mine. And we were at this pub, and where I played him the song. His name's Rajiv. I played him the song, and he basically was like, oh, let me send this to Sonu Nigam. I said, yo, I don't know Sonu Nigam. He's like, oh, let me send it to him. So I was like, all right, because he was like, Sonu would sound great on this. And I was like, Sonu Nigam. He's like, yeah. I was like, well, great. I mean, that would be nice, but I don't know. I've been to India when I was like 11 years old to see the Taj Mahal. You know what I mean? What do I know about it? He's like, I know Sonu Nigam. So he sent it to Sonu Nigam. Sonu Nigam called and said, what's this? He said, oh, it's my mate's RaOol's, and, check it out. And what do you think? And he was like, I love it. And then he spoke to me. He said, yo, you need to come to India. And then that's when the India transition happened for me. And that's when I was like, all right, you know what? Let me put the investment banking away and let me pursue this full time. So that was going back a few years now.
Sorry, there was a lot of names that you just casually thrown into that answer. Acorn, where did that connection come from?
The Acorn Connection? The Acorn Connection, basically, it happened with a radio presenter from the States. Her name is Rox. She had played, she was a big fan of Mirani Dua. She was really, really lovely, such a cool chick. And she'd basically been playing a record. And one day she calls me up like 3 in the morning, my time in London, when I'm in London. And she calls me up and she's like, oh my God, guess what? I've got this fashion designer coming down to do a radio interview about Caribbean Indian fashion. I was like,
Okay.
that's amazing. It's 3 o'clock in the morning though. So like, why are you, what's going on? She's like, oh no, shit. So he said, when he comes down to the interview, he wants to pass through with a friend of his, and he happens to be an A&R executive. So 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, boom, say what? Okay. Like, all right, hold on. She's like, so I'm going to play the record. And if he likes the record or something, then maybe something could happen. I was like, cool. So she did that. She played the record, and this A&R is called didnt, who's now manages me out from the US perspective, an amazing dude. And then my sister was like, I want to go to New York. Do you want to come with me? I was like, yeah, shit, yeah. I thought maybe I'll go down there and meet with didnt. So I met with him and played in the rest of my music. He loved it. He introduced me to the whole convict music camp. A relationship kind of ensued from there with different songwriters and producers in the US camp, including DJ Payne One, who produced AO, the new record, all from that connection. And then one day later, we got about a year later, one fine day, we got a call, and it was like, yo, Acorn wants to meet you. Do you want to come to LA? And so that was dope. So we went out
casually.
Yeah, so I was like, yeah, I'm down with that. So we went out to LA, and then that's what happened from there.
How did you feel when you were like expected to go and meet Acorn for the first time? Were you nervous?
Yes, definitely nervous. I was definitely nervous. I remember standing in his car park spot. Do you know what I mean? Where he was reverse parking, right? So I was stood there in this car park spot, and like the guys were like, "Yo, RaOol, you need to move out of the way." I was like, "Yeah, cool." I didn't really hear him, so I was like, "Yeah, cool, man." And he's like, "Yo, he's backing up now. You need to step out." I was like, "Oh shit, sorry, my bad." So
move out the way.
I was like, "Shit, this ain't really cool." Acorn's gonna be like, "What's going on here?" But no, he was a really good dude, man. And he is a really good dude. He's super talented. He's really close with Shah Rukh Khan and stuff like that. And so it was awesome. But I'm really grateful to not just him for taking his time out and guiding me and whatever, but also mainly to the A&R, to didnt, who's an A&R for Convict, but he's my manager. He's helped me a lot in my career with things to do and things not to do. So shout out didnt from Convict Music.
Shout out to going there. So those initial songs that you released, Hindi songs, and obviously we'll get onto the Gujarati in a minute, but meeting with these producers and labels in America, did you ever think about singing English, singing mainstream?
Yeah, and I still want to do that. That's my passion. That's my English is my first language. Well, Gujarati is, but then ever since
both sides of it.
School, ever since started school, definitely English is what I'm really comfortable, or more so comfortable with. Especially now learning Hindi, like Hindi and Gujarati, everything just kind of gets a bit mixed up sometimes. But English is what I'm really comfortable with. I will do it, but for now, I'm really excited about building a fan base in India and being able to communicate with my people, South Asian people, not just India, but all of South Asia, in a commonly understood language like Hindi, and then also to communicate with people from my state or from where my heritage comes from, which is Gujarati and the Gujarati stuff. So definitely going to be doing the Hindi stuff later on this year, but I've got all these Hindi records and Gujarati records on this laptop, and I need to get them off first.
Send them out.
Yeah,
so let's get into that then. So you originally were singing in Hindi. What was the point at which you kind of made the conscious decision that, do you know what, I want to represent my people and I want to go and sing in Gujarati or release something in Gujarati?
It was always my idea to do that, and then the idea came to me in 2018, where a few months before Navratri, right? I was like, if I'm going to do it, now's the time to do it. You know what I mean? For Navratri. So I put this record together. Max Wolf and Nameless produced this song. It was a super dope record. And I took my favorite Gujarati Garba and I switched it. And I kind of gave it my style and my flex. And at that point, I was still back and forthing a lot with India. And a lot of the majors, all the famous majors, I have to say, all of them, were interested a lot in my Hindi stuff. So I would go to these sit-down meetings and they'd listen to all my records and then like it and then whatever. And then I played this particular song, Gemcho. I played this song and they would bop their head to it. And when the music stopped, they were like, yeah, no, don't do this. And I was like, what do you mean? You don't like the song? Or is there something wrong with it? Or, it's not, what's wrong? And they're like, no, we love the song. So I was like, what's the problem? They're like, listen, you're not from here. So let us tell you that Punjab is the cool of India. if you want to do this hip hop thing and this is you, and you know, you need to concentrate on Punjabi. In fact, we recommend you rap in Punjabi and you look Punjabi. So amplify that, put a magnifying glass on that. Don't put a magnifying glass on the fact that you're Gujarati, because Gujaratis aren't cool. Gujaratis are money men. They're the guys behind the scenes, not in front of the camera. That's just how it's always been. That's how it will always be. And so, of course, because I have a problem with authority often, I was like, nah, now I really want to do it. I'm going to do it independently and show you how wrong you are. And so I say that like I was really confident, but it was just a song that I loved. It's something that I wanted to do. And I put it out there, and I didn't put any money towards marketing it. I spent a lot of money creating the product because I really believed in it. And I want to give the best to the audience. And you feel pressure, you know, when you're the first kind of Gujarati rapper who's doing something like that, you feel pressure, like you want to come correct, you know, you want to represent properly. You don't want to cut corners if people tell you it's not going to work or whatever. Like if I'm putting in certain effort in my Hindi records, I have to put that same effort in Gujarati, whether it's a smaller scene or not a smaller scene. Irrespective of that, I want to do the right thing, you know, with that. And I did, and I put it out, and bro, I went to bed, woke up in the morning, and like Guju Baba, Guju Musti, Guju Jokes, every Gujarati Facebook page had shared the thing and messaged me like, sir, we have posted your song. We are pinning it on our label. I hope it's okay. I was like, absolutely.
Do it. Put it everywhere.
Put it everywhere. And so, man, bless them. There was a lot of the portals, the Gujarati portals, were super supportive, man, with it. And then because of that, I was able to get the song out there despite being independent, despite not spending any money on marketing. And it did really well for me. And then that's when I knew, yeah, you know what, I need to focus on this Gujarati sound and focus on this, and also, you know, and do this because people like it, you know. And you know, the best music that I can make as an artist is that which is true to who I am, you know what I mean? And I am Gujarati, and that's important for me to do that.
Precisely. When you look back on that moment now, do you ever think when you sat in those rooms with those people that you really could have just said, okay, yeah, cool, I'll just do the Hindi stuff, or yeah, I'll do the Punjabi stuff, and put that on the backbench, and how that might have turned out differently? Or do you think that you were quite adamant that this is what I was going to do?
I was mad adamant, bro. I was mad adamant. You know what I mean? Because look, let me explain it. Let me explain it just in terms of numbers. Maybe that's where the investment banking comes into it. But
get the numbers up.
There's 63 million people in Gujarat. All right. Gujarat is also like Ankit Tiwari was a good friend at that point in time, and still is now. And obviously he's a super famous music director and what have you. Ankit Tiwari told me, he goes, bro, I did 18 shows last year, 18 stadium shows, right? This is at the time. He said 11 of them are in Gujarat, right? Do you know Ash King? Right? Incredible talent as well.
Yeah.
He's half Bengali, half Gujarati. He's like, bro, when I go to Gujarat, I play on the fact that I'm Gujarati so much. He's like, you need to play on that. So they told me that, right? The numbers, the fact that there's a huge population in Gujarat, the fact that there's a huge live industry in Gujarat, and the fact that kids are kids everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like if people like a certain type of music, they're going to like that music everywhere. Bro, when I went to India, they told me, oh yeah, Honey Singh, because he was the one that was popping, the only one that was popping when I went out to India. He was like, that's an anomaly. Yeah, no, this ain't gonna work. India is a melodic market. It's not a hip hop market. Hip hop's a fad. It's a trend. It's never gonna work. And I knew that was wrong because hip hop has become a well-established indry. You know what I mean? Throughout the rest of the world, why would India be any different? You know what I'm saying? So I learned from very early to just follow common sense, man, and just go with my gut. And it's not about, and you know, I'm talking about numbers and stuff. It's not even about that, bro. It's about what is the best music I can put out. You know, hip hop is my love, is my first love, you know, so is Indian music and Bollywood and bhajans and stuff like that. You know, the best that I can be as an artist is that which I am. And, you know, putting those two loves together, having that Western and kind of Indian side and that hip hop side, put it all together, that's the best that I can do. You know what I mean? So just from that perspective, creatively, it's what I want to do. And I've just learned the best way of making the best music that I can possibly make is when I just do what I want to do.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's great that you were so headstrong about it and was, you know, adamant, I'm going to release this music. This is what I want to represent. This is how I want to do it. So with me or not, this is how it's going to go.
Exactly.
No, perfect. And I can say, so everyone that knows me knows that I'm a diehard Bhangra fan. But when I heard Gujarati Hip-Hop for the first time, I was like, damn, this song is popping. Like, it's got the beat, it's got the vibes. Like, you can just tell. Kind of, I think there's so many different sub genres of, if you say Asian or South Asian music, but if the music's popping and someone's vibing with it, whether it's dancing, whether it's singing, whether it's just having it on in their room, then you're going to reach out to the people anyway.
Yeah, definitely, man. I think that's the truth of it. But thank you very much for that, man, and I appreciate your support for the song.
No, definitely. So let's talk a little bit about Gujarati Nasha then. So this was the song I kind of feel like when I probably first heard about you, and the song popped off and it was being played on radio everywhere, and you obviously featured Jazz and you had Niti Mohan on there. How did that kind of project as part of the EP kind of get started?
So Jazz is like family to me. Like ever since I moved out to India, he has helped me so much, man. Like the love that he's shown me is on another level. You know, the dude is a phenomenal talent. Not just saying that because he's my boy, but just facts. You know, like
it is facts. Everyone knows that.
You know what I'm saying? Like he's really putting his work though. You know what I'm saying? Like he's really putting it. Like he has, you know, he's gone to a top music school in the UK and he's been classically trained in India. You know what I'm saying? He's not just a normal Punjabi vocalist, of which there are many who just get on the mic and auto-tune it up. You know what I'm saying? He can actually sing. He's put in his work. So he is a great talent and a great dude, man. And he's been super helpful in, you know, what the do's and don'ts of India and stuff like that. So, you know, he's been saying to me for ages, like, bro, I want to sing a song in Gujarati, you know? So when I wrote this record, I sent it to Jazz and I said, what do you think of the song? And he called me up. He's like, bro, I love this record. So I was like, okay, well, you know, you said you want to do a Gujarati song. Would you like to? He was like, yeah, damn, hell yeah, 100%. Let's do it.
It's a chance.
Yeah, you know, he jumped on it, man. And the thing that's so dope about Jazz was, because he is such a talent, the way he pronounced it is phenomenal, bro. When I tell you the way he sent those vocals to me, like even the way he mixed his vocals as a stem, I've not had to change any of that. Like
really,
he is brilliant. Like he's such a brilliant talent.
That was going to be one of my questions. I was going to say, did you have to help him with his pronunciation or with, you know, getting the words right or how to say them? But it seems like you didn't.
No, I didn't, man. I didn't. He so much so that when my mum heard the song, she's like, "Who's that?" And I said,
"Who is?"
And I was like, Jazz. So she's, you know, she called up Jazz and she's like, "Beta, you sound as good as a Gujarati boy. You're Gujarati better than RaOol." You know what I'm saying? I was like, "Oh shit, mum, what you trying to say?"
Mother, how dare you?
Yeah, exactly. Mother, chill. But he did an amazing job, man. He did an amazing job. I have a Gujarati name for Jazz now as well because he nailed it so much.
What's that?
Jagdish.
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 Start calling him Jagdish, dummy.
He nailed it, man. I mean, he's a great dude and a phenomenal talent. And then with regards to Niti, I was recording one of the other songs from the EP, and the studio that I use out in Mumbai, it's an amazing studio called Audio Garage. The recordist there, who's like one of the most legendary recordists in India, he's super dope. Funny enough, Jazz introduced me to those guys as well. When he recorded Have Have, I spoke to Ame, the recordist, and I said, man, I think Niti would sound great on this next song. What do you think? And he was like, yep, I think Niti will nail that. Her tone will work and whatever. And I said, you know, Niti's one of the artists I don't actually know personally. Despite being in India for so long now and knowing a lot of the playback singers, she's someone I don't know. So I said, look, do you mind sending me her number? And he you know, I guess he sent me the number. So I literally called Niti Mohan and said, listen, I'm a fan, you know, you don't know me, but I've got a record. I think you're going to sound amazing on it. Just have a listen. If you like it, it would be my honor to have you on the song. And she heard it, and lucky for me, she loved it, you know. And I told her that, you know, it's not just the singing part, but I want you to actually rap as well in.
Yeah.
And I think what was lucky for me was she was like, oh wow, you know, like my husband's Gujarati. So I was like, there you go.
Come on.
Lucky. Yeah, that was lucky for me. So she absolutely nailed it, man. I knew she had that, the way she articulates some of her words. I knew that, and the way she delivers them and expresses them in her Hindi songs. I knew that she has that swag and should be able to deliver rap in a believable way, because, you know, so, with so many songs that I've done where I've written and I've had other singers jump on them and do little rap verses and stuff, it's surprising to me, but they actually struggle to do it and do it like effectively. They're phenomenal, you know, phenomenal singers, and their pitching and their vocal attributes are like second to none. But when it comes to rapping, they really struggle to make it convincing. But Niti didn't have that problem. She was dope, and she came across really well in the song.
Yeah, definitely. I was going to say, because you've got someone who's massive in Bollywood films and Bollywood songs in Hindi. You've got someone who's big in Bhangra and Punjabi music. And then you're like, hang on, but you're going to come in here and you're going to do a Gujarati rap song.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's literally what I did. And I think that's the thing that excites me a lot, is that I feel like Gujarat music, you know, there is a scene there and there are phenomenal talents, although it's very folk derived and still very folk, but it's quite internal. You know, it's a little bit in its bubble. So there's like a Gujarati scene which is known to Gujarat, and that's it, you know? And I kind of wanted to break that up. And so for me, what was exciting is when you get like Pragati Guru Prasad, who's this amazing singer from LA, who has worked with A.R. Rahman and stuff, and getting her to sing Gujarati, and getting Niti to rap in Gujarati for the first time ever, and getting Jazz to sing in Gujarati for the first time. I think that's what's exciting for me, is when I'm, you know, what I'm trying to do is get people to, you know, appreciate and celebrate Gujarati culture. And you know, that's just my little contribution in kind of trying to make that happen, trying to expose or give Gujarati music that exposure and that and that recognition. And yeah, I'm just really grateful that everyone jumped on it and that people have liked it.
No, definitely props to you for kind of doing that. And it sounds like a lot of firsts. So it's great to be the person to be pioneering that era of the music.
For sure. It is fuss and it is tricky. But it's no fuss at all when you have talents like Jazz and Niti and stuff like that, because they're just brilliant. You know, that's the truth of it.
Definitely, I can bet that. But the song itself, so I don't speak Gujarati, so I'm going to need you to break it down. What is this song all about?
So it's funny, like Gujarati and Nasha are two words you don't put together. The reason being is Gujarat is a dry state. Nasha means intoxication, right? So it's very controversial because there's no even, because it's the birthplace of Mahatma Gandhi, there's no alcohol, right? And drugs are certainly frowned upon in all manner, all right? And what I'm saying in the song is that in a dry state, I'm saying to the girl, in a dry state, you make it rain, you bring the rain, right? And I'm saying that basically in Gujarat, we all trip, we all get high off of how beautiful Gujarati girls are or whatever, you know? So that's where the concept is coming from on the song. So, you know, and then what Niti's saying in the back was just like, listen, boy, she's like, you know, calm down. And I hear all these compliments, but, you know, you better stick to like the tomako, which is like, you know, soparing, jarsovis, the stuff that they chew. You know, right, you know what I'm talking about, right? The brown stuff, which is not pleasant at all.
No, I have not tried it myself, I must say.
Yeah, no, me neither. It's not. I don't recommend it. I've not tried it. But yeah, she's saying you better stick to that, boy. Like stick to the kind of devices that you know, and leave me out of it, because I'm a drug. I'm an intoxication you can't handle, is what she's saying back to me, kind of thing. And that's what the song's all about.
Got it now. Now I'm going to listen back to the lyrics and try and understand what you're saying in it.
For sure. Next time, in fact, for the next Gujarati songs we're going to do, I'm definitely going to put a little translation thing in there as well, I think.
Definitely. That'd be good. I'll be able to understand it then. Even though I was vibing to it anyway without knowing what I was saying, which I often do a lot of the time.
and that's what's so cool about music, bro. It's the universal language. Like I'm a big Punjabi fan. Like I love Bhangra records. You know what I'm saying? I love Latin records, and I don't speak Latin, and my Punjabi, like I can pick up the odd word here and there, but it's not that great. You know what I'm saying? And I love that. So I think it's just, you know, music really is a universal language, you know, as long as it makes people feel a certain way, that you don't necessarily need to understand every single word, you know.
Yeah, no, definitely, for sure. So you touched on rap there slightly in your song, obviously, and you kind of got, not necessarily in Gujarati rap, but in India in general, you've kind of got Raftar and you've kind of got Badshah. What do you think is going to be the future of that kind of segment of music, especially with you coming in with the Gujarati side? Do you think there might be more collabs? Do you think there might be more mixovers, or where do you think it's going to go? Because traditionally, obviously, it was very Bollywood focused, Bollywood film focused, but sometimes you have these singles being released now which aren't related to film. Where do you think that fits in?
It's a really good question, bro. It's a really, really good question. And the truth of the matter is that independent music is going to stay, and it's going to be huge. And it's growing every day. Not just from a hip hop perspective. I mean, that's what, you know, what I like and what I represent, but just independent pop music, indie music, it kind of like even rock stuff. There's a huge growing number of artists who are putting out stuff independently that's not related to film at all. And there's a huge number of people consuming that content as well. So what's really dope is that you're getting a whole ecosystem that exists outside of Bollywood, and that's never going to go anywhere. So I can tell you that even from a Gujarati perspective and hip hop perspective, right? When I opened for Badshah at his biggest show that he's ever done, Gujarat, right? And he sold out a whole stadium, right? And at that show, after the show, I met about 5 hip hop crews, Gujarati hip hop crews, like underground rappers, and they are dope, bro. They are super dope. Like I even showed them to Jazz, and Jazz was like, damn, these boys are good. Like they are good. So that was so encouraging to me to see that there's, you know, even though Gujarati hip hop is definitely a niche compared to like Punjabi hip hop and the whole Mumbai kind of gully hip hop scene, which is huge, right? And even there's a huge hip hop scene down south as well. But even in Gujarat, there's a thriving hip hop community. And I speak to them rappers and they're like, yeah, you know, we have freestyle nights at the park in Gujarat and stuff like that. And other rappers come and spit and stuff. So hip hop's not going to go anywhere, man. It's going to be one of the biggest things. Like even when I speak to my mates who are like choreographers and stuff, there's a friend of mine who choreographed Divine's Mirchi, and he came out to India about 5-6 years before me, and he tells me the same thing. When he came there, he was like teaching hip hop dance, you know, and like he would like Katrina learned from him, and like Katrina really got it because she's from here, right? But very few other people got it. And he's like now a judge on Sony Super Dancer, the TV show where and he's like, every second contestant now, fast forward these 6 years later, is a b-boy of some sort. They're like locking and popping, or they're, you know what I mean, or they're crumpers, or they're whackers, or they're different. So not only is it just like hip hop dancing, it's now like broken down. Like this actual segment, there's like whackers and crumpers, and specifically, you know, b-boys with acrobatics and stuff like that. There's different styles now as well. So the whole thing's being fleshed out, which is really, really dope, man. So I don't think it's going anywhere, and I'm really excited by it. And whatever I can do, push other artists as well, like underground artists. I'm always trying to do that, especially underground Gujarati rappers and stuff like that.
Nice. We'll see what comes out of that scene that's going to be coming up soon. And I think I agree with you. It's not just going to be the Bollywood movies that bring us the big tracks. It's going to be coming out from all sorts of places, and it's cool. So you mentioned like Divine with Midji, that's a completely different kind of vibe, but everyone loved that as well when it came out. It's just different.
Banger, yeah, for real.
All right, so it's come to time I'm going to play the game with you. Now, you might get this really easily, but I may have misjudged your time in London by a slight bit.
Okay.
So I was going to ask you to see how much British slang you can get the hang of, being from Australia, but then also living in London and then being in Mumbai.
Okay, cool. All right, let's do it.
Let's see how many you get. I think you might be quite good at this considering you've been here for a while. Maybe
pointing now, like now that I've told, I should have told you, I should have underplayed my time here and then just impressed you about how wise I was.
Exactly. I would have been like, wow. All right. Okay. First one, a chinwag.
Chinwag is what I do too often instead of focusing on my work. Talking, shooting the breeze.
I see, but
shooting the breeze.
Let's start off warm. Okay. If you were to go to Nando's with a friend, which adjective would you use before it to describe the trip?
What adjective would I use before? Oh, cheeky.
Yeah, you got it.
Boom.
You're doing well. You're doing well. Okay. If you were to eat bangers and mash, what would you be eating?
Sausages and mash.
Yeah. I really did make this too easy, didn't I? All right. If you were on the bog, where would you be?
You'd be dropping the kids off at school, mate. That's an Aussie expression for the same thing.
Yeah. I was like, I've got one where he doesn't know what it is. No, right, you got that one. Right, if you were cream crackered.
If I was what?
Cream crackered.
Is that Cockney rhyming for knackered?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. All right.
You got that from the words.
I never heard that one before. I never
Cream
heard
crackers,
that.
they were like, oh, I'm absolutely cream crackered. Like, yeah, like you're knackered. Like,
Knackered. All right, cool. Gotcha.
There you go. All right. I feel like you might get next one because you're, you know, cool in hip hop. So these might be easier to get. If you had good crops.
Good sneakers.
Yeah, you got it. If you are wearing like you are now, wavy gums.
Wavy gums. You're wearing dope ass clothing. Good clothing.
Yeah.
Yep.
These are really good. Okay, this one's one that I learned like a couple of weeks ago. I think I might be late to this one, but clout.
It's clout is it's like fame, but it's not quite fame in the sense that if someone says you're chasing clout, it's actually a bit of a diss kind of thing. So it's a bit of a diss. So it's kind of like you are trying to get the limelight, basically.
Yeah, got it. I don't know if that one's quite British slang. I feel like that's like universal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely hip hop. Got a hip hop touch to it.
Okay,
Peng. See, that one I didn't actually know. That one I didn't know, but I was getting that on some comments years ago with Merirani and Dua, and I was like, oh my God, we need to get rid of these comments. Everyone's saying Peng. For some reason, when someone says Peng, I feel like they're trying to say that you smell. That's what I feel. Like, oh no, that's Peng. Like, oh man, that sounds like a
song.
But and then I realized that it means like hot. Does it mean like hot? Or
like Peng Ting from barking from the song.
Yeah, Peng Ting. Yeah. So I was like, but I don't know why I thought Peng was got to do with something about like smelling or something, and I felt like, oh my God, I'm getting cussed out, or what does this mean? Like, why are people saying Peng? It's like I was really worried about it. Definitely when I got those comments years ago. When I
giving you some PTSD with the word Peng.
Definitely some PTSD with the word Peng. But I'm so grateful that it means good. I was trying to get the label to delete the comments, like
delete them all, get rid of them all.
Yeah. Mind you, it's not like I got loads. It was like, you know, the one or two different people that got it. It's probably my cousin, probably my family just trying to big me up or something like that. You know what I mean?
All the Londoners being like,
yeah, my cousin or something like, oh, I'll just write something nice. Peng.
Gotta start somewhere. All right, the tea. If someone said they want to go give you the tea.
Oh, gonna go give.
Have I stumped you?
Yeah, gonna go give you the tea.
This is what my friends use all the time, and I never used to get it. And I was like, "What are you saying? Are you like having a cup of tea or what?" And she's like, "No."
No idea.
So it's like, kind of like you're gonna sit down and have a cup of tea. Is like you want to like spill the tea, like the gossip, like what's going on.
Oh, the lowdown kind of thing.
Yeah, the lowdown. Spill the tea.
Okay, there you go. All right, cool. That's a new one.
All right. I've got that one. Okay, final one. Dench.
Dench means like hench, like buff.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah, cool. All right, cool.
That was too easy.
No, man, that was hard. I did a good one. I'm gonna put T in a record, in the new record now, and in the new record now, and credit you for it.
You're like spilling the tea. I'll look out for it.
I feel publishing, bro. We're gonna put you on the publishing with T. With the credit.
Honored, absolutely honored. All right, so let's talk about your brand new single that has just been released, AO. How did that come about?
AO is really a song that's really special to me because it's the other side of my sound. Like if you listen to a lot of my like Gujarati Hip-Hop, whatever, it's up tempo. Mm-hmm. Whereas AO is more of that kind of melodic hip hop space, which I absolutely love. It's a big part of my sound, and big that you'll see even the next record that I'm dropping is again in that kind of field. It's almost like a part 2 of that, where the story continues. But the story in AO is just based on real life, man. It's something that happened to me where there was a girl that I knew and or that I know maybe as well, who I felt was in a toxic relationship. You know, she was with someone who she shouldn't really have been with. And it was like, you know, I could see it, other people could see it, but she couldn't see it. You know what I mean? We were just all caught up in this relationship that was just not going to work out for her. And it was kind of like, you know, why don't you see, you know, the person who really cares for you in this scenario, you know, is me, kind of thing. You know, I'm the one who's there picking up the pieces every time this guy does you wrong, you know. So it's a little bit of a player haters anthem in a way. Hating on that dude, like that guy. But no, but it's you know, it's we've all been there. You know what I mean? We've all
Everyone's been there.
Yeah, and so, you know, again, it goes back to me saying that thing where I've learned that the best music that I can make is when it's true to who I am. And so this situation happened, and I just, you know, put it down kind of on paper. And then from there, what happened was I got Nameless to produce. He's a dope producer over here, as well as DJ Pain One, who's a phenomenal US-based producer and produced like a lot of dope artists like Lil Baby and Ludacris and Rick Ross and loads of dope credits and whatever. So that's the story of AO, man. And then we shot the video out in Switzerland with Luke Biggins, who's such an amazing video director and shot so many from like Stormzy's and Chips and Stefflon Dons and whatever. And we shot the video out in Switzerland. And yeah, I'm super happy with the way it's turned out. And it's, I think, quite clearly the best record I've put out in terms of how well it's done with all the feedback and everything. I'm really excited by how well the song's going.
No, nice. Yeah, it's a bit of a different vibe to Gujarati Hip-Hop. I listened to it, but a cool one. And how do you see your sound evolving? Is there kind of a time frame or direction you want to travel in? Because obviously Gujarati Hip-Hop, you had Gujarati, IO's more kind of Hindi. Where do you see the kind of journey or the releases that you're about to come out with going?
Really good question, bro. Really good question. It's going to be both. So so the next song that I release, that's going to complete my Hindi EP. So obviously the Gujarati EP is out. My first Gujarati EP is out. This will be my first Hindi EP, which will be completed when that comes out, when the next record comes out. Then for the rest of this year, I've got another whole EP that I'm dropping, which is a whole Hindi EP. And it's just chock-a-block full of collaborations. So these are all records that I've written, and I've just got different artists jumping on them. A lot of really cool names. A lot of people I can't wait for you guys to hear what it sounds like. It sounds dope. And that's a Hindi EP. So this is, you know, Wolfpack Volume 1 is my first Hindi EP. It's just me on the vocals and whatever. And then the second EP will be Wolfpack Volume 2 will be all collaborations. And then towards the end of this year, there's going to be another 4 Gujarati records, again, with a lot of collabs. And I've got a title for that as well, which I'm really excited about, but I won't share it just yet. But I've got a title, I've got a vision for that. And so this year is going to be full of, you know, quite a lot of Hindi stuff, as well as some Gujarati stuff as well that I'll be pushing through. And what I'm going to keep doing is I'm going to keep dropping Gujarati versions of even some of the Hindi records as well, just to make sure that people, you know, that I can give back to the Gujarati community as well, for all the people that have supported me with the EP and Gujarati Hip-Hop and what have you. There is a Gujarati version of some of the Hindi songs, as well as all the original new Gujarati songs, which I'll be dropping. So a lot of Hindi and a lot of Gujarati, but it's like, if you ask me, it's like a 50-50 split for this year. It will be half Gujarati, half Hindi.
Perfect. Sounds like a big 2021 for you then. Are you allowed to reveal a hint of any of those collaborations that we might see this year?
No.
That's always the answer is a no.
As much as I love you, bro, and as much as I love that background with the whole setup is killer, but no, not as of yet, because I don't want to let the cat out the bag, and because, you know, we're still in the process of finishing up the songs and stuff like that. But there are a lot of really dope names, like some of my favorite artists, thankfully being able to get on these records. So I'm really excited about where this year will lead us. And then transitioning into next year, you know, it might just be a lot of English records from that point.
Something slightly different. If you're not allowed to tell us who's on it, can you give us a time frame when we might hear one of these?
Yeah, for sure. That I can do. So my next song that I'm releasing, the part 2 of AO, that's going to be coming out, I think on the 18th of March. That's going to be coming out. And then after that is all the collaboration records, and they'll be coming out 6 weeks or so every kind of 6 weeks after the 18th, after mid-March, basically. So towards the end of April, and then every 6 weeks out will be all these collaboration records all the way through. And then the Gujarati stuff will be obviously near the Navratri time. You'll definitely hear a lot of the Gujarati stuff coming out again.
Ready for that Navratri season.
Exactly.
Wow, that sounds super dope. And I'm very looking forward to hearing those records, Gujarati and Hindi, when they come out, and looking forward to seeing those big names of whoever they are.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that.
But yeah, finally, just wanted to say thank you very much for coming on here to Change the Light Bulbs and speaking to us all about your journey. It's been really interesting to hear, and great to hear how you're kind of pioneering the Gujarati music scene and taking it to new heights for the South Asian community.
Thank you very much, bro. I appreciate that. And thank you very much for having me on Changing the Light Bulbs. It's a really, really cool platform. From all the stuff I know about it, I'm really excited about what you guys do as well. And yeah, no, I genuinely mean thank you, because you know, especially with the Gujarati stuff as well, you know, it's not normal, it's not common. And the support you've extended me yourself personally, as well as through the platform, it really, really is appreciated, man, and getting the music out there. So thank you very much for having me on this show, and for all the support you've offered me, man. Appreciate it.
No problems at all. Thank you very much for coming on, RaOol. We'll speak again soon.
Take care. All the best.
Cheers.